In order for me to solve polynomials, I'm going to refer to all the different types of ways we can factor. The first one is factoring the greatest common factor. The next one is a quadratic trinomials using the factor sum method. The next one is a perfect square trinomials, difference of squares and factor by grouping, and then some difference of cubes. So when you take the exam, I'm going to provide you this formula sheet. We're going to go ahead and start with example A. We have 2x cubed minus 5x squared equals 3x. So we're going to move the 3x to the left side. So we have 2x cubed minus 5x minus 3x equals 0. The only thing that we can factor, and by the way that's a square, the only thing we can factor is the x. So we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals 0. So what we're going to do next is we're going to factor 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 by multiplying 2 times negative 3, which gives you negative 6. And you're going to find the factors of negative 6 that add up to give you negative 5, which is going to be negative 6 times 1, which gives you negative 5. So you have x parentheses 2x minus 6 times 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to factor a 2. So we have x minus 3 and we have here 2x plus 1 equals 0. Divide by 2 both sides. And you notice we have x times x minus 3 times 2x plus 1 equals 0. So the first 0 is x equals 0. The next 0 is x minus 3 equals 0. So you add 3 to both sides. So you have x equals 3. And the last one is 2x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 from both sides. So you have 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2. So x equals negative 1/2. Okay, so part of the problem was hidden from you. So I have 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x equals 0. So I factor in x. And I'm left with 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. You're going to multiply 2 times negative 3, which gives you negative 6. Find the factors of negative 6, which is negative 6 and 1. So negative 6 plus 1 gives you negative 5. So what you're going to, because that's what you want here in the middle. So you have 2x minus 6 times 2x plus 1. You factor the extra factor, which is 2. Divide 2 by both sides, so you have x times x minus 3 and then 2x plus 1. Set each factor equal to 0. And so the first 0 is x equals 0, x equals 3, and then x equals negative 1/2. Now if you want to check this, we can use Desmos to check this. We have 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x. Okay, so let's look at our table. And I have 0, 0, 3, 0, and then the last 0 was negative 1/2. And that's 0. So I did verify the solution. They're actually the intercepts. So if I make this larger, you have negative 0.50, 0, 0, and 3, 0. Example B, we have 3x to the fourth plus 12x squared equals 6x cubed. So I have 3x to the fourth minus 6 x cubed plus 12x squared, and I'm writing it in standard form. And you notice you have 3x to the fourth minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared equals 0. You can factor a 3, and you can also factor an x squared. So you're left with x squared minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. I factored that as the greatest common factor. Now I can divide by 3 to both sides. So you have x squared parentheses x squared minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. So I have 2 times 2. That's not going to work. 4 times 1 is not going to work. So it looks like it's going to be imaginary. So we have x equals 0, and that's a multiplicity of 2. This I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula. The formula is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute. So I have x equals 2 plus or minus square root. So it's negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is 4, divided by 2 times 1. So I have x equals 2 plus or minus square root of 4 minus 16 over 2. 2 plus or minus square root of negative 12 over 2. You have square root of negative 12 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 3 times the square root of negative 1. So square root of 4 is 2. So it's 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 3i over 2. All the 2's cancel. So it's 1 plus or minus square root of 3i. Okay. So you have 0. It's repeated twice. And then you have 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 3 over 2, which reduces to 1 plus or minus square root of 3. So we're going to go ahead and factor x to the fourth minus 3x squared minus 4. We're going to solve this by the factor sum method. So let me go ahead and start all over. So we're going to solve this by factoring. So we're going to look at negative 4. And we're going to see if there's any factors of negative 4 that when you add it up will give you negative 3. Of course, it's negative 4 and 1. Now, the only difference is this is x to the fourth power. So you're going to have x squared, and we know that it's going to be 4 and 1. Because 4 times 1 gives you 4. Now we want and 4 plus 1 gives you 5, which is not going to help. So we have negative 4 times 1 gives you negative 4, and that's what we want. We have 4 times 1 gives you 4, and then 4 plus 1 gives you 5, which is, these two are not going to work. We have negative 4 times 1 gives us negative 4, and we know that negative 4 plus 1 gives you negative 3. So we have x squared minus 4, and we have x squared plus 1. Now x squared minus 4 is the same thing as saying x plus 2 times x minus 2. And x squared plus 1 cannot be factored. So now we know that we say x plus 2 equals 0, and we're solving for x, so x equals negative 2. We have x minus 2 equals 0. You add 2 to both sides, so x equals 2. X squared plus 1 equals 0. So this is going to be imaginary, and you're going to see why. You subtract 1 from both sides. So you have x squared equals negative 1. Get the square root of both sides. So x equals plus or minus square root of negative 1. So you want to know the solutions. It's going to be negative 2, 2, square root of 1, and positive and negative. And square root of negative 1 is I. So let me make that correction. So it's going to be I and negative. So we have factor 3x to the fourth minus 3x, where what are the linear and quadratic factors? We know that 3x to the fourth minus 3x, we can factor a 3, and we can factor an x, so we're left with x to the third power minus 1. We know that a is equal to x and b is equal to 1. So we have 3x parentheses x minus 1. Then we have x squared plus 1x plus 1. So now we have 3x, x minus 1, and x squared plus 1x plus 1, which are the factors. So we're going to factor 8x to the fourth plus 27x. We're going to start by factoring x. So we have 8x cubed plus 27. I know that we can write 2x to the third power plus 3 to the third power. So I have a is equal to 2x, and I know that b is equal to 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 4x squared times 2x gives you 8x cubed. So we're going to have x parentheses 2x plus 3 parentheses. Then we have 2x the second power, which gives you 4x squared, minus 2x times 3, which gives you 6x, and then plus 9. And those are my factors: x, 2x plus 3, and then 4x squared minus 6x plus 9. So we're going to factor by grouping. We're going to group the first two, and we're going to factor an x squared, and we're left with x plus 3. And then the second one, we're going to factor a negative 16, and we're left with x plus 3. Now we're going to factor the x plus 3, and you're left with x squared minus 16. And we know that x squared minus 16 is a perfect square. So you have x plus 3 times x minus 4 times x plus 4. And this is factoring by grouping. So in this example, we're going to factor by grouping. We're going to group the first two terms and the last two terms. And so we're going to factor x to the third power. So you're left with x minus 2. And you can factor a 2. So you have x minus, I'll take that back. You can factor an 8. You can factor an 8, so you're left with x minus 2. So you have x cubed plus 8, and you have x minus 2. Remember, we have a cubed plus b cubed is equal to a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. That's a sum of cubes, and we know that x cubed and 8, it's going to be a is going to be x, and we know that b is going to be 2, and I kind of you can't see it. So we have x cubed plus 2 cubed gives you 8. So I'm factoring x cubed plus 8. So I know that a is going to be x, so we have we have x plus 2 parentheses x squared minus 2x plus 4. And so what are our factors? We have x minus 2, x plus 2, and x squared minus 2x plus 4. Negative I.